Sony takes away a Xbox exclusive for the second time in 2 days. And they also make a surprising announcement that has everybody talking. Obviously, this is something that Sony was very, very tight-lipped about, and it's still just a huge surprise. Everybody's going to be excited by this news. You don't want to miss it. I can promise you that. Hey everyone, what's up? I'm the Crapgamer, and this is of course Crapgamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice a few cool changes around here, but that shouldn't stop you from giving us a like and possibly consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me and my silly YouTube channel. Now, every single year we get tons of games from all of these companies, right? Microsoft, Sony, the big third-party developers and things like that. It's always such a surprise and such an amazing feeling when we see something new for the first time or when we get updates on things. I'm not going to lie, I love E3, and I incredibly miss E3. I miss the real E3 where people could go there and attend it and you could hear people cheering and see the reactions to great announcements. That was an absolutely amazing thing to witness, and I loved covering E3 and talking about it. It was just such a great time, and I don't think we'll ever get back to that the way that we were at one particular point, but it's still just nice to kind of reminisce and go back and say, hey, that was a really cool thing. Now, we get announcements and we get these little digital events, and I think those are very cool, but on the other hand, they aren't nearly as respected or responded to as much as a big event. And I think some of that blame could possibly go on Nintendo. They're the ones that started the whole digital event thing, and I'm sure that they save a lot of money by doing that. But just from a fan's perspective, it's not nearly as interesting or fun to watch. With that being said, Sony came out and announced a new state of play, and it looks like this is going to be a pretty big deal. But I would also say, please temper expectations and don't expect a bunch of exclusives or anything like that. They're pretty much just keeping us in the know for the rest of this year, it looks like, and have a lot of third-party things like that. So 2021 is slowly winding to a close, but Sony isn't quite done with their announcements. Following their big September PlayStation showcase, which give players a peek at God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2 for the first time, Sony will be offering up a State of Play show in October 27th to be exact, that will focus more on third-party projects for the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. While some of the focus will be on games we already know about, Sony is also promising a few reveals, quote-unquote, from their various third-party partners, which sounds like a good thing to me. I always think, you know what? Exclusives are great, and I love exclusive, and those are the reasons that I buy particular consoles for particular games. But at the same time, obviously, we're also looking forward to the other types of games that we're going to see, and it's always nice to see those games come out and come to fruition as well. So anything can be a surprise, anything can be a great game. It doesn't have to necessarily be first party, but it is cool to see those too. This is what Sony had to say. Just a quick note to tell you that State of Play returns next Wednesday. This time out, we'll be focusing on announcements and updates for upcoming third-party releases headed to the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4. The show is looking to be 20 minutes long or so, and will share new looks at previously announced games, plus a few reveals from our partners from around the world. See you Wednesday. So given the show is only 20 minutes, we should probably temper expectations, like I said earlier, but still, it's going to be interesting to see what Sony serves up. Given how much is being packed into the first half of 2022, they have a lot of options. We could hear more about the PS5 version of Grand Theft Auto 5, or maybe get a new trailer for Elden Ring, or maybe even one of Square Enix's upcoming PlayStation console exclusives like Final Fantasy 16 or Forspoken. There are a lot of other reveals to consider. I think there could be some indie games and things like that that we might see. It depends on where you're at or where you feel about these type of things. State of Play, as I said, drops next Wednesday, October 27th at 5 p.m. Eastern. It can be viewed on YouTube or Twitch, so that's a really cool thing. And if you're new to the channel, know that I always link all of the news articles in the description, so if you want to check it out and see the press release for yourself, you can feel free to do that and then just kind of get an idea of what's going on. So personally, seeing some third-party stuff, I wouldn't mind that. I don't mind that. We could see pretty much anything. I love seeing just games and having an event where people can have something to talk about afterwards, which obviously if you do YouTube, you want that to be the case. And there's also the case where we could see maybe some new gameplay for the first time. So that's really cool to see as well. I can't imagine what we'll all see, but I'm sure we'll see some stuff that might be on a little bit smaller scale, some mixed stuff. Usually if you can factor in between 2 and 3 minutes per little detail, then that's pretty much going to give you an idea of how many things we're going to see. So they usually go by pretty fast, but I'm excited to see exactly what's going to happen and what we're going to see from Sony. It's always going to be a fantastic time, and again, I would just say temper expectations just a little bit, because you're not going to get Wolverine 2 gameplay or Spider-Man 2 gameplay or anything like that, so just know that that's not going to happen. So with that being said, the other bit of news is I did a video, I believe yesterday, where I talked about a game that was going to be coming to PlayStation 5 that was previously an Xbox console exclusive. Now, these things happen all the time. We see this happen more and more with these smaller games, and especially when it comes to stuff that ends up dropping like on Game Pass or whatever as a day one thing. These small developers almost always bring their exclusive games to other platforms at some point, and I've kind of gone over this verbatim and ad nauseum because a lot of people still don't believe it when, you know, these games go multi-platform. So I just think it's funny because I've seen this game and others like it on those Xbox fanboy lists where they try to say, hey, look what games we're playing. We don't need a Horizon Forbidden West or a God of War Ragnarok. We've got 12 minutes and you know, the Artful Escape. It's great to be an Xbox gamer because we get to play these games. And I'm just sitting there thinking, that's the biggest cap I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? And that's something that happens more and more as well. So it kind of blows my mind. With that being said, this is one of those games that was in a list, and now it looks like it is going to be on the PlayStation side just in time for Halloween too, which is cool. The reverse horror game Carry On from publisher Devolver Digital and developer Phobia Game Studio was just shadow dropped onto the PlayStation Store today, just in time for the season. What's meant by reverse horror game is that you're in control of the monster and your job is to simply, well, to eat. What will you be eating? Well, the scientists who have idiotically decided to come to work today. That's basically the description of it. It's a bloody 2D side-scrolling game that will not only have you weaving through tight corners to gain the upper hand on silly humans trying to kill you, unaware they're about to be lunched, but weaving through the lab, exploring different paths along the way as well. Along with the announcement, a new trailer for the game was released, which doesn't show any actual gameplay, but is instead an animated short film meant to capture the horror that scientists will be faced at your hands, or more accurately, the tentacles. So I think this is something that's cool, and that a lot of people are going to be, you know, just something to kind of check out if you haven't already checked that out. I personally haven't. But, you know, we'll see what happens sooner rather than later, because, you know, there's a lot of people that like these type of games. This game, sort of, from what I've seen of it, reminds me of something that might have been in the Xbox, you know, summer showcase or something like that for indie games or something. But for me personally, I just feel like this is just maybe a nice little thing to pick up for the season. It's holiday, it's spooky or whatever, kind of a little fun thing to play. Again, I'm not a huge indie guy, but I still think that they have a place as like the side dish or whatever, and so it's nice to see stuff kind of make the jump from, you know, Xbox to PlayStation and vice versa, depending on what it is. Like these small games, I've preached it. They all end up everywhere, so it's stupid to put them in your lists. I will never understand that. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for checking it out. I certainly appreciate it. I think the world of you. If you enjoy the content, please consider leaving us a like or subscribing. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody. Crap Gamer's here. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. Crap Gamer out.